Hello. I had a recent talk on the subject of perpetual motion machines, wherein I described the exact methodology of how to design and build one of these machines. In that talk, I also outlined why building such a machine purely in the physical universe is impossible. That talk was based on my recent work entitled The Modern Philosophy and Science of Investment. This work lays the foundation of all of our activities in our lives and is not about financial world or financial aspects of life, as most people have thought erroneously. The subject of investment has become mistakenly synonymous with the financial world, which you will find in this work to be completely incorrect. Investing, in the widest sense of the word, is about any activity in life in which we expect a return or reward in the future. So any living being is perforce an investor. Thus, this book will apply. With this introduction, I hope you enjoy watching this original talk on the subject of perpetual motion machines.
Another IEEE Industry Application Society event tonight, 7 p.m. It's my honor to introduce the speaker tonight, Dr. Radmanesh. He's my colleague, and I would love to give you a little bit brief description about his background and what he has done in past many years in industry and academia. So just briefly going over Dr. Radmanesh's bio. Dr. Radmanesh has received many awards from IEEE, including a distinguished IEEE award. He has got 4 more awards from IEEE. He has been chair of the MTT Society for 3 years. Dr. Radmanesh has many publications, more than 40 publications in IEEE, and 25 books and audio books, and in microwave engineering education. And Dr. Radmanesh has 2 patents, and he has been my colleague for many years. It's a pleasure. Dr. Radmanesh has a PhD in microwave electronics and electro-optics from Michigan and Harvard, and he got also his master's degree from the same university. He has worked for Hughes and Boeing, and is currently a faculty member at Electrical Computing Engineering Department at the California State University in Northridge. With that, I will welcome Dr. Radmanesh.
Thank you very much. Good evening, everyone. So tonight, we will talk about how to build a perpetual motion machine, which is an unusual name because, as we will see in a moment, it's not possible in a certain domain, and yet it's very possible we will get to another domain. And we'll talk about it in a moment, what it's all about. So, what I'm going to talk to you tonight is two philosophical doctrines which are crucial and govern our universe. First and second laws. Then I talk about the discovery of new conversion principles that I unearthed in the process. Also, what is a perpetual motion machine and how does it relate to life? Because a lot of us engineers, we work at the same time. We want to know how does it connect with us personally. And I'll talk about that. And the other thing I'd like to talk to you about is that why every engineer is a lifelong investment. We'll find out why. And at the end, I have a final goal for you. That means when you get the lecture, you'll find out that you need to look at a new horizon and change your view to find out what's ahead. And you'll see at the end. Okay, so with that said, let's take a look at this picture. What's wrong with this picture? Anyone can tell me? Water flowing, right? Is that possible?
No.
What's missing?
Pump.
A pump. Right, exactly. So this one we got a theoretical PMM, or perpetual motion machine. It's pure theoretical because it's not possible in the physical universe. Now, the history of it, since Middle Ages, over centuries, people have been trying to build one. And there have been many attempts. But the bottom line is that the perpetual motion machine, also called over unity machine, right? Over unity machine requires no input, yet gives an output. This is quite impossible, as you will see in a moment. Why? So here's a picture. You got the input right here, and you got the output. But in a PMM, what do we have? Input is 0, output is non-zero. We all engineers know not gonna happen. So let's figure out from a scientific point of view why. Physically and intuitively we know it's not possible. But let's see why. So first of all, the first law of thermodynamics. It tells us total input energy, right, has to be equal to output work plus other forms of energy. That means energy is conserved. We all know that. It's a fundamental law of physics. We learned it from when we were freshmen, we were in high school, and all of the laws of electromagnetism are familiar with. Any law of any subject, particularly physics, all of engineering is based upon this fundamental law. It has not proven to be invalid under any condition. So this is the major thing we're up against, okay? Now, this law says energy can be neither created nor destroyed, okay? Now, also says the energy can only change its form from one form to another, all right? So as a result, what's the conclusion is output work is never greater than the input. That means the gain, maximum gain from a machine is 1. You'll see in a moment why. So the gain defined as output work to input energy is 1. That's the first law of thermodynamics, dictates this result. All right. Now, there are some inventions that they have, for example, ocean currents or sun rays or winds that they claim to be perpetual motion machines, right? But they all consume some energy from external sources. And the moment those are cut off, the machine stops working. Okay, now, the second law of thermodynamics. In this law, basically it says that heat flows spontaneously from a hotter location to a colder location, and moreover, this is where it matters the most. Complete conversion into useful work is impossible. That means if you want to convert any form of energy into another form, in between there's a thing called friction. Friction takes away some part of the output. What does that mean? That means the output is always going to be what? Less than the input. That's like ingrained in us as engineers, right? It's like you can't live without it. It's like every aspect of life has it, all right? So, let's move on. So, as a result of this, you can see quickly that to keep a machine moving indefinitely without any further input requires the input energy to increase. Why? Because of the loss. The loss eats some of the energy. Therefore, you must constantly supply the energy to take care of the loss. As a result, the main conclusion is what? That it's impossible to build a PMM with G more than 1. G being the gain. Okay? So, let's move on. Now here's the next part. To summarize what we just said. Number 1, no new energy can enter from outside. That's the first requirement for a PMM. That means all existing energy can only be converted. That's the first thing. The second thing is that output power is always less than the input power because of the friction. And therefore, the efficiency of real engines are below unity. Okay? So, what this leaves us? What this leaves us with is that physical engines must satisfy two conditions. Number one, they need a source of energy for the use. We all know that. We cannot run a car without gas, right? And we can't run a computer without plugging it into it. And the second thing is, I'm sorry. Yeah. They all operate below 100% efficiency. In fact, far below. Some of them even 30%, 25%. So 100% is really ideal. It's really ideal. So you're looking at these two conditions, which clearly is dead gains are required, gain more than one. All right, so now let's take a look at the main concept of the PMM. What's the main concept? The main concept of PMM is to have a machine that moves perpetually without an input. That means it never stops. A PMM can only exist in isolated systems because the moment they are connected to some other form of energy, then that form of energy, basically what it does, it creates an input. So, and it's not allowed some input coming in. So therefore, because of that, right away, what do we have? We have a violation of the main fundamental postulate, which is perpetual motion machines require no input. Therefore, there must be isolated systems. Okay? So the whole idea is that there are concepts out there. If you go to YouTube right now, you Google, there are a ton of videos on it. But all of these machines, what do they have? They have some form of a latent or hidden energy supplying the lost energy. Due to what? Friction. So all machines have this hidden energy source constantly supplied either to the sun or wind or ocean current, whatever the case may be, to counteract the effect of friction. So in the physical universe, a PMM at best can be a storage device because that's the only way we can stop friction. If you just store the input, right, and do not let it create an output, your gain is one, you store. Any new energy coming in automatically violates what we call the isolated system assumption. Because that's the main requirement for a PMM, because a PMM requires new energy coming in. That means the system has to be isolated from outside, no energy coming in, and that's the main requirement. So now, if you want to build a PMM, you need two things. Number one, you need the energy to start the motion. That's the first thing. And this is the only energy we are allowed to put in, to harvest it from. So as a result, extracting extra energy or work is not possible because the only thing we can extract is what we put in by the first law of thermodynamics. As a result, what we call over unity machines or PMMs in the physical universe is an impossibility. I'm just showing you what you are up against. And of course, if it surprises you, it shouldn't surprise you, because if somebody could build it, he would have unlimited potential to do anything he wants to. He doesn't have to go to work anymore. He's done. He can retire, right? He's set for life. And that's why very, very few people have achieved this, because it is almost impossible up to this point to achieve it. Now, let's move on. So the new approach to building a PMM is the following. Let's look at the definition of a machine. What's a machine? A machine converts one form of energy to another form, okay? So the whole key to building the machine is what? Is the conversion process. You need to understand the conversion process better. The conversion is a key to solving this problem. All right, so let me give you a little background how I ran into this. The original motivation that I had was not even finding the answer to PMM. What I was looking into was, I was trying to investigate two distinct areas, the physical universe and the thought universe. I was trying to find parallelism and commonalities between these two universes. And as a result, for 15 years I've been looking into this, finding out many areas and many laws that were not even discovered. I found out quite a bit. But what happened was that the PMM was a subproduct. I just ran into it in the process of delving into this topic of investigating how the thought universe works, how somebody thinks, what are the laws of the thought universe, and what are the laws of the physical universe. I ran into PMM. Okay, so what I found out is that, what I found out was the actual PMM is possible only through the following: an intelligent combination of thought and matter, because it forms a bridge between these two universes. So a PMM must be a bridge between two universes. You cannot have one universe, which is physical universe, to do it for you. In other words, you just cannot go there and throw a switch on a machine and hope it's going to pour out energy forever. It's not going to happen, because that's only one universe. You haven't tapped into the other universe. So the answer lies right here: an intelligent combination of thought and matter. If you do that correctly, then you can create a bridge between these two universes, and then you can have a machine. Without that, you're not going to have it. And that's what has gone wrong for centuries. Man has been looking into the wrong area, focusing only on the physicality of things, right? And that physicality is a limited potential to do the job. As a result, what happened? They haven't found the answer. Few people have, and those who did find it, they really haven't understood what happened in a scientific way. And so as a result, they didn't quite convey their discoveries to others. So this whole subject became what? Completely undiscovered, unnoticed. So here's what I'm going to talk to you about now. With this understanding, let's move on to what we call echelons of conversion. What do I mean by echelons? I mean classes of conversion. We found out, one of the things that I found out in the process of discovery was that there are three echelons, or three classes of conversions. The first one is a regular conversion. What is that? It deals with physical universe energy or mass into other forms of shapes of energy. What that means to us, this is the only one out of three. The regular conversion is what most people have looked into to find their PMM. And as we find out in a moment, it's a junior type of conversion. It's not going to create a PMM. It's a wrong area to look. So this type of a conversion, the regular conversion, validates both laws of thermodynamics. First law and second law, both of them are validated by this type of conversion. Then there's sub-echelons to this regular conversion. Let's figure out what they are. Sub-echelons, the first one is energy to another energy form. Pretty easy to understand. A battery does it, a pump, steam engine, all of these take one form of energy to another form. For example, a battery takes chemical energy into electrical energy. A pump, electrical energy into mechanical energy, and so on. So this is very common. You all know that. The next part is energy into mass. This would be, an example would be electrostatic painting, or condensation of steam into water. And many other examples could be thought of. The third type is mass to energy. Combustion is an important example of mass to energy. When you drive your gas is mass, converts to mechanical energy, electrical energy for headlights. So you have mass to energy conversion. Nuclear fission or nuclear fusion, both of them are mass to energy conversion. And there are sub-echelons of regular conversion. And that's the only conversion up to now that people have looked into. There are two more levels which are much more senior to this, and that's what the answer is. All right, echelon number 2, it's called expanded conversion. In this type of conversion, what happens now is the following. Is action gets converted, actions, motion, and behaviors into a tangible physical product. How would that be possible? Simple example, an athlete who, let's say, is competing in a running marathon or any kind of a competition. He works hard, he does certain things, and he gets a medal. Another one would be an employee. He shows up every day on work, he does the job, what's given, right? He gets a paycheck. So you're converting what? Certain behavior, certain physicality of things. Paycheck is a physical thing. Or an actor who appears on the stage, does certain things, portrays certain emotions, right? And characterizes a character, and he's done a great job, converts that into what? The film. The film, now the physical film is now, can be done something with it. Bottom line is that that idea is converted into a physical product. For a student, well, a student is a very good example. Most of us have been students through life. What we've done is not difficult. We go through certain actions. We get up early morning, we study books, right? And we do a good job. We do certain things. We show up on the exam on time. We do the test, solve the problems. What happens now? We get an A. So we converted that action into a physical grade, A. Right? So this is the second echelon of conversion, which is echelon number 2. The second sub-echelon is biological conversion. In this type of conversion, food, air, water, minerals, energy, and motion can be converted into what we call physical mass, force, and mobility. It's very relatively obvious because a baby can grow into a boy, a sapling into a fruit tree, a calf into a cow, etc. That's all around us. All we have to just look around. It's a very common conversion, not difficult to visualize because it's very commonly seen around us. So this is the second sub-echelon of expanded conversion. Now, the third sub-echelon is raw material plus ingenuity into what we call higher order forms of products. What does that mean? For example, if we convert sand into glass, silicon into IC chips, oil into rubber, and then assemble them into a physical product, which is exchangeable with the society, we have done a higher order conversion. We have taken raw materials into higher order forms of product. This is how our society runs. Our society runs on that principle. We as engineers are taught, we're not taught this necessarily, but we're taught differently. But when you go work for a company, that's what a company does. The company does raw materials plus ingenuity and converts into higher order products and services. TV, cars, all the things that we use every day is the result of this conversion. So this is what we call third sub-echelon. Now, here's where the first breakdown of laws take place. What happens here now, because of the injection of life force, or elan vital, into the equation, what we've done, both laws of thermodynamics are partially valid. That's the first breakdown, and that's where we start getting a little bit of traction into getting into PMM's heart. How do we get to PMM? Because PMM, with both laws of thermodynamics, if you recall, fails, does not work. We need a higher level of intelligence to get it to work. And this is the first level which we are seeing partially valid. That's the first level. Now, echelon 3, which is the, what we call supernatural conversion, is where magic happens. Let's see what happens in this. In this one, nothing into something. That's the conversion of what we call imagination, ideas, visualizations, emotions, knowledge, all the space, time, energy, and matter. There's totally immaterial things. An idea has zero mass. When you visualize something, you have zero mass on that picture. That, converting that into a series of meaningful actions and emotions. Okay? The word is meaningful, that's a key word. In other words, you can have all of these things, but the actions have to be meaningful. An example would be an artist, inventor, or innovator. An artist, by visualizing something, what it does, he creates a mental image picture, right, and then converts it into a canvas as a painting, or let's say an actor, or any form of art has this creativity built in. Before the performance takes place, what takes place is right here. Nothing into something. An idea in your mind converts into certain patterns, what we call behavior patterns, and that has to be meaningful. Cannot be any random action. You see, that's the key word: meaningful action and motions. So all creative people, which consists all of us, we have that in us, but maybe we haven't tapped into it yet. That's the thing. See, we tap into it, we could do this. It's definitely possible. Now this is one of the sub-echelons of echelon 3. The next sub-echelon is something into nothing. Now this is a reverse process. Let's see how that is. What it does, some form of mental energy or mass turns into nothing. Goes. For example, if you're, let's say you're in the middle of a major confusion, like a major life-threatening confusion, and you are supposed to understand this, otherwise you will not pass the class. And in major confusion, and so you're lost in here. It's some type of a situation. So you consult with somebody, and you find the answer, and the whole confusion blows up. What happens? The mass that was in your mind blows up, goes into nothing. It's the reverse process, you see, and it's kind of a relief and disintegration of mass that you're sitting on. It's a very, very powerful thing. But bottom line is that this is not what we're looking for. What we really want is the, let me go back here. Let me look at this one. Nothing into something. That's the beginning of what we call a perpetual motion machine. That's the initial seed of that machine. Now, before I go on, let's talk about what echelon 3 does. Echelon 3 does a complete, which is a conversion of nothing into something, is a complete violation of the two laws of thermodynamics. They both become invalid because energy when you visualize or imagine or any kind of a mental activity, you're no longer following the laws of the physical universe. You're on a different level. And that's where the thermodynamics failure is a bonus to create the PMM. Without this violation, you could not build a PMM. You see what I'm saying? It's very crucial to understand that echelon 3 is where we start our progress. Now, here's a simple chart showing you what we are up to now used to. Most of the education we get at the university level is right here. Echelon 1, regular conversion, which is both of the laws are valid. Echelon 2, sometimes we get part of it, I would say, partially, but no one has pointed out that's partially valid. And echelon 3, really not, hardly any. And this is where the imbalance of education comes into play, because now most of the education we have is only echelon 1 or regular conversion. And these other two echelons are completely left out of the curriculum, and it's not talked about. So what we have people who are not creating PMMs in their lives, and they should be, because everyone is capable of it. But perhaps without understanding what these two are, no one can do it, you see. So with that said, Let me now move on to this one, which is the foundation of a PMM is basically nothing into something. That's the foundation. Because nothing into something, what is the gain? If you have nothing going in, something coming out, what is it? 1/0 is infinite. See that? So gain is more than one. That's the foundation of a PMM. All right, so with that said, you can see right away that over unity machine or perpetual motion machine takes no fuel and yet delivers an output. All right. Now, here's where most of the people through centuries have been stuck. Physical universe, impossibility of a PMM. However, the total possibility of PMM through a combination of thought and physical universe components. If you combine the correct level of intelligence and the right materials, you can create a PMM. And the main reason for the existence of unity machines is potentiality of life form, which is an anomaly in the physical universe. In other words, thought is not a component of the physical universe. It's a separate component. Therefore, that's where the entrance is. The entrance to the problem is right here. Potentiality of life form. That's, if we embrace that, we will be able to build a machine. Everyone gets what I'm saying here? Very important to understand this part. The potential of life form. To be able to go into echelon 3 conversion, which is nothing into something, to start the machine. Now, here's where the quick summary of what I just said. So, the conversion has to be useful to the society. Must be a product that is exchangeable. In other words, you must exchange that product with the society. You cannot exchange that product, your machine will break down. You just cannot build anything you want and say, I've got a PMM. If nobody, you cannot go to exchange with the society, that PMM will break down because you have too little force to continue operating that machine. So that's first. Of course, echelon 3, we know, we talked about it, violates and contradicts all of the known laws of the physical universe and physics. Completely violates all of the laws. Conservation of energy, law of second law of thermodynamics, which is the friction, any law of gravity, every known law is violated by echelon 3 and 2 conversion. So, to create the over unity machine, we need to have it sustainable and autonomous. Autonomous meaning no input. We need the following: education and training in the exact sense of conversion. Echelon 3 and 2. In other words, to build a machine, we need the training, education. We just cannot build a machine. Every engineer knows. You just cannot go out, just my field is microelectronics, so build an amplifier or an oscillator without the knowledge. People will laugh at you. So same thing here. If you want to build a PMM, you need the training in what we call echelon 3 to 2 conversion. That's the key part. And what we are given at school is what? Echelon 1 conversion, which is regular conversion. We have not tapped into the other forms of conversion, which is essential for this operation. So let's talk about now, how do you build the machine? How do you build the machine is the following. There are 4 stages. Stage 1, we need space, energy, matter, and time. But these are not in the physical universe, they're in the mental domain. Plus imagination, ideas, information, and ingenuity into a series of meaningful actions and motions. It's crucial. From here to there, it's a crucial part of this operation. Of course, there's a prerequisite for that. What's the prerequisite? A sane person with an able mind. At the same time, what we need is knowledge of axioms, principles, and laws of conversion. So you see somebody who's really not up to par in the mental domain, he will fail. He will fail in this area because he cannot build it. Because what happens, whatever he builds, he cannot exchange with the society. Therefore, his machine will fail. So the prerequisite, sane, able mind is crucial. And all of us are in that position. We have school here, engineering, we are in that domain. The rest of us who are not here, or maybe are not fortunate enough to be in school, doesn't mean they are not, but still, that's a prerequisite. And this is what we call the most underlying layer. Before we start this engine, this is crucial to have this prerequisite met. Understanding the axial principles and laws of conversion and a sane and able mind. With that underlying at hand, then we can proceed to stage number 2, which is conversion of meaningful actions and motions into valuable final product, VFP. The VFP has to be exchangeable product or service. It cannot be any random thing that you create as a hobby. If it's a hobby, you're not going to do it. Must be exchangeable. So the VFP is what we're looking for, converting meaningful actions and motions to a VFP. That's crucial. That's called stage 2 of conversion. Stage 3 is exchange of the VFP to other desirable products or services. Of course, to do such a thing, you need to go to what we call medium of money. But money is not the end goal here. See, let's say we want to, we have a goal to get a TV as an example, right? So you do certain actions and you convert to VFP and you exchange the VFP. Obviously, to exchange that, you have to go through the medium of money. But the money is not the end goal. You take that money and you buy the TV with it. You get what I'm saying? So the idea is that you exchange some form of valuable final product to another form that you want to have. This is where what we call a regular one type of conversion. A form of physical form into another physical form. You see what I'm saying? To the medium of money. But the bottom line is, this is the 3rd stage. Now, the 4th stage is the most crucial stage. And this is where most people who want to build a PMM forget about it. Let's see what that is. Feedback. The feedback system means the following. You have to take the net gains from the operation, right, into the system in phase. What we call a positive feedback system of PMM. So the input comes in, the output is there. Now, the net gains that's created here, you have to feedback in phase with the input. That's called positive feedback system, right? In engineering, those of you guys, electronics, you know when you have positive feedback system, what happens? The system oscillates. And if you're building an amplifier, what happens? You don't want it to oscillate, because what that means, you have infinite gain in an amplifier. But if you are building a PMM, you want this thing to oscillate. You want infinite gain. You want gain more than one. You see? So this part right here, the feedback of the net gains back into the system in phase, is the most crucial part of this operation for sustained and longevity of the system. You cannot forget the feedback part of this operation. Now, the reason for the feedback to be so crucial is the following. It strengthens the system and turns into a self-sustaining autonomous PMM with longevity. So without the PFS, we don't have self-sustaining and autonomous, which means no input PMM. And that's a crucial part of it. A majority of times, when people run into a huge gain, what's the first thing they do? The first thing they do is to go buy a fancy car, fancy boat, fancy house, right? And they destroy the net gains. The net gains should be put back into the system to create what we're looking for. Again, if you just get rid of the net gain, there's nothing to feed back, therefore the system falls apart. Now here is an F7 engine that I developed. Again, each part of this, what we call F1 through F7, is a certain particular action. And it's beyond the scope of this work for me to go into what's inside of this engine. Now, this F7 engine embodies stages 1, 2, and 3 into one box. But inside this box, there are many activities and many actions that you need to do to get an output. So that input comes in, output comes out with a gain of G. This gain of G is crucial in the moment we'll see, has to be more than 2 to make this thing workable. But bottom line is that this is the system that we need to put into place to get an output. Now, here's a system with feedback. Okay, so what we do here now, advanced F7 with feedback, what we do is that, I'm sorry. All right. So the input comes in as an output. Part of the output is fed back with the feedback factor F. F is between 0 and 1. It has to be less than 100% because you cannot feedback all of the output. Part of it feeds back into it so that this input replaces the original input. You know what I'm saying? In other words, what you're doing, you're taking part of the output and putting it back here in order to sustain this operation. Let's take an example. Let's say XY is 1 and gain is 10. Okay, gain is 10, let's just say. So we put 1 unit, comes out 10 units. All right? So what you do here, F has to be, you take part of this. Let's say you take 1 unit from here, you put it back here. So what's left here? You get 9. 9 units output. That's the remainder, okay, that you're going to do something with it. But bottom line is that the gain has to be more than 2 to get part of it inputted back here. Here's a little mathematics for some of you guys. Again, I hope it doesn't confuse anybody, because what it basically boils down to the following is this. You got the input, XO is the total output. The feedback, FXO, which is supposed to replace the input, is FXO. So if you put it back in, F has to be 1 over G. So in my example, G was 10, let's say, right? So F has to be 1/10, because 1/10 of the output will be equal to the input. So the net output X prime O, we'll go back a tiny bit. X prime O is here, see here? X prime O is the net output, which is what? Which is XO minus what? FXO. So FXO subtracts from FXO, and as a result, you get X prime O. Okay. So X prime O, which is net output, boils down to G minus 1 Xi in one stage. Now, this again, this is the process of starting the engine. See, the engine is, the PMM, you have to build it. So how do you build it? You build it stage by stage. Stage 1, you have a feedback loop in your F7 engine. Now, stage 1. So you have a net output X prime O, G minus 1 Xi. Obviously, G has to be what? More than 2. If it is less than 2, you see it's not going to work. But G has to be more than 2 in one stage. Then what we have got to do is to compound this into several iterations, into n stages. So the result is G minus 1 to the power n Xi. So what we really have is that the net output is G minus 1 to the power n. After n stage of compounding, we get a net output. So this is now, finally the system is now at steady state. See, so initially when you start the system at stage 1, you're just starting it. So it's one stage. So you haven't got to the final stage. When you get to the final stage here, you have now steady state output. N could be a large number, maybe, let's take an example. Let's just say if G equals to 10, so 10 minus 1 is 9. So if you put 9, n is 20, let's say, 9 to the power 20 would be a large output. And this is what creates the, what we call sustainability, in terms of it go on forever if you have this type of output. But the main requirement is G has to be more than 2. And you can see right here, if G is less than 2, it's not going to work. The number, let's say you put 1.5 here, 1 minus 1, power n would decrease, would not increase the output. And that's where the other problem is most of the time, the gain of most engines, physical engines, forget it's always less than 1. But gain of most products that are created are not more than 2. That's where right here, where it fails to be a PMM. Now, an example. Golden goose, as you all may know, is a proverbial, is a very hypothetical example that what it does, it basically lays a golden egg every day, right? You guys have this whole the story, right? It's just a goose that lays the golden egg. And the whole story about the farmer who had this golden goose, and he liked it very much. He liked to get eggs. He liked to get golden eggs every day. And one day he decided, he got greedy, right? And what happened? He said, I want to get all the gold. So what he did, he killed the goose. He got all the gold. He dug inside the goose. What did he saw? Nothing. There was no gold. So he went back being poor again. The moral of the story is that laying the golden egg is not material, but immaterial. So the golden goose goes through a series of what we call echelon 3 type of conversion to come up with the physical reality of echelon 2 of golden egg. And that golden egg can be exchanged for other products. You see the idea? So the idea is that golden goose, even though it's very, very hypothetical and this is kind of most people look at it in disbelief, it is a possibility if you look at echelon 3 type conversion. And as a result, the conclusion I want to make here is this, that the regular conversion that we're all used to is junior in importance to echelon 3 and echelon 2 types of conversion. It does not work, and it's not going to provide you with the machine that we want. Here's the picture of it in a nutshell. What's all about. We have, imagine, if this be the iceberg, the top of the iceberg, which is the golden egg, is echelon 1 conversion. You can see a physical product. That is echelon 1. Below the water line, what is echelon 2 conversion and echelon 3? These two are doing the job. What most people look at is up here. They say, oh, this is what I'm trying to do. So a PMM cannot be built above water. You cannot just build a machine and throw a switch and say, I want to have a physical engine and build it with echelon 1 conversion. It will fail. 80% of it is down here, which is below the water line. No one sees that. You see, that's where most engineers who are working in the field of the building machines, they fail to see. They fail to see these two types of echelons of conversion. Therefore, they do not make the grade. So, here's the thing. A golden goose is an absolute impossibility according to laws of physics, right? Because it violates both laws of thermodynamics. However, a golden goose as a perpetual motion machine does exist in actual practice. Okay. Conclusions. The conclusion I want to make tonight is that a perpetual motion machine using echelon 1 type of conversion is impossible. Don't even try it. It will not work. Many people have tried and they failed. So why even try a failed project? The proper education, mental training, and exact knowledge of PMM technology is the answer to a self-sustaining perpetual motion machine. If you can do that, that's the step 1, you have a chance to make it. Here's a kind of a definition of engineer. Most of us are familiar with this definition. Our job is to what? Build machines, engines, structures, etc. That's what we are hired for. A lifelong investor, on the other hand, what does he do? Builds PMMs. So how come most of us, through all the years of education, we come out of school, we never heard of PMM, number one, we don't know how to build it. The reason is, there's a missing link. What's the missing link? Here's the missing link. Lack of education and visualization, imagination, new ideas of how to convert into meaningful actions and eventually into VFPs. Therefore, our education is based on new echelons 3 and 2. Without these two echelons of conversion, our minds are not geared to produce a PMM. See what I'm saying? That's why this missing link is crucial to understand why education fails. It does fail. It's not a bad system. It's an unbalanced system. Too much regular conversion and too little what we call conversion, expanded conversion or supernatural conversion. Because of that unbalanced education that we get, we cannot create a PMM. So, tools for success. Let's see what we need to know. What it needs is that echelon 3 type of conversion requires self-development and a mental discipline and expert knowledge of the following: axiom laws of conversion, the certainty principle, master keys to conversion, genius traits. There are certain genius traits that, if you are familiar with what they are, will enhance our performance. Principles of action, affluence, laws of creation of power, golden rules, eminence, and efficiency. These are series of tools that creates the first seed of PMM, because that's where the PMM originates. And the tools for it is a knowledge of the following: the axioms and laws, certainty principles, very crucial, keys to conversion, genius traits, principles of action, affluence, laws of creation of power, and golden rules. With these tools, we have an arsenal to attack the problem and build it. And let me add another thing. A PMM doesn't have to be necessarily electrical, electronic, optical. It could be any of it. It could be mechanical. It could be any, it could take any physical particle into it. Because regular conversion is junior. So that it doesn't matter what type of machine it is. It can be any form. The key part, the senior part, echelon 3 and echelon 2 are unchanging. This always remains the same. At the top of the pyramid, which we have above the echelon 1 conversion, those can change forms. So, let's see a new definition for an engineer, what it is. An engineer is a lifelong investor, which is in line with, by the way, AVAIL outcome, lifelong learning. See, AVAIL requires all of you guys to be lifelong learner. But lifelong learning is the first step to what? Lifelong investing. So, you should be able to confidently convert ideas into a tangible product, VFP, and then as a result of that, create what we call a PMM. So, this is a new definition for an engineer, because that would be in line with what the bigger plan for all of us are. And finally, the final goal, which I'd like to give to everybody, hopefully you can take as a takeaway, take it with you home and think about it, maybe you can accomplish it, is a self-sustaining perpetual motion machine, PMM, should be the ultimate goal of any successful engineer as a lifelong investor. Why? Because you can do that. You own a machine and not be owned by the system. That would free you of the many difficulties that you run into, financial or otherwise, and free you of all the other troublesome areas. So this is the goal that I have for everyone. Hopefully you can embrace the goal and create a prosperous future. Thank you very much.
We're going to have some minutes for questions. Dr. Radmanesh.
What was the problem?
Well, when you die, for example, your brain stops working. So it's a physical process. The creation of thought involves biological, electronic processes in the brain. It's not separate from the physical processes of the brain. Most neural scientists would argue.
Well, you have a point. Most neurosciences are built, they are in the regular one conversion. Their studies, all the medical textbooks they study is what? Most of it was echelon 1, regular conversion. At most, echelon 2. They even don't talk about echelon 3. So what you're dealing with, the thought can mobilize physical form. But that doesn't mean that the physical form by itself.
I'm not
So
arguing
I'm just saying
against the
that-
value of creativity. I'm just saying that to separate this from the physical world, I think it's, you have some difficulties with it.
I don't think so. Personally, I don't think so, because most people understand that a human being is extremely creative, and so, and nobody can underestimate that thought can defeat matter. Maybe some people may not believe that, but it's definitely doable. Personal experience in that, so I know for a fact it's doable. Thought is superior to matter. So therefore, if the brain, of course, if the brain gets damaged or something happens to it, so you lose part of your functionality of the body, that's not what we're arguing with here. The person, before the accident, let's say an accident happened to somebody. The person before the accident and after the accident is the same person. Maybe he's lost part of the function of the body, but it's the same person, the same thought. You see what I'm saying? Therefore, that the argument does not hold, because most medical doctors are regular conversion. That's why a medical doctor only looks at the physicality of you, not the thought aspect of you. And that's why perhaps they have a limited success in the healing process. If they looked at you as a whole, as a thought unit, plus the physical aspect of you, then they have a higher success rate. But their success is about 30% at best. Most of the times, they don't know what causes the disease. Most of the time, they tell you, oh, I don't know what caused it. And so the solutions they offer you most biochemical. So that's a different story. Anybody else? Yes.
Sorry, there was one mention about having isolation. Are you trying to point out that once we have isolated place, the time is not in the same concept as we have in places that is not isolated, correct?
Oh, I see.
Because parallel universe, actually, I was reading the paper, Steve Hawkins talked about parallel universe, and then it says even before Big Bang, it was isolated area, and then the time concept wasn't the same, and so on. So are you trying to point out the time concept is not the same in the in isolated area, correct?
No, it's not time so much I'm worried about. Use the system. The system has to be isolated from the outside environment. For a PMM to exist, requires no input, right? Time is not the issue. Energy is the issue. So I'm saying this system, to be a PMM, perpetual motion machine, must require no input. Okay. If this is connected to the outside world, can input come in from the outside world? So it violates the PMM condition. That's why I'm saying isolated, meaning has no connection to the outside world. No energy can come in that sense. Not time-wise, but energy-wise.
So time and energy are different concepts. You're saying it's not having an effect on
Time, well,
I'm sorry,
I'm not time. If you can get into time and energy, they are related together. Of course, time is a byproduct of energy. But the bottom line is this: for a PMM to exist, just for a PMM to exist, we require no connection to the outside world. In that sense, of course, if the moment you disconnect it in there, the energy is not coming in. Therefore, all the energy inside here is all the energy it has. We cannot allow energy outside coming in. because it violates the PMN. PMN requires no input. You see what I'm saying? That's why. Anybody else? Yes.
When we consider the F7 engine model,
Yes.
can you give me an example of how far we've gotten through those stages? You talk about stages 1, 2, and 3. Can you give me an example of maybe stage 4, 5, or 6? I don't know if humans have gotten, conceptually all the way through the stages in that engine. What do those represent?
That's a good question. The thing is that F1 through F7 is not human development, it's the organization development, because that engine you talked about here, that engine is a system that takes different aspects of running or creating an output. You see what I'm saying? Different organizational aspects. You know, that engine you see there is not a box that you can turn the switch on. It's organization, I would say. You see what I'm saying? And every one of those F's stands for something, some action, and that has to be done correctly so that the output is generated.
So it's not a fixed set of 7.
What I mean?
It's not a fixed set of 7 particular.
No, I found that the most advanced is F7. It could be a lower, it could be F5 and F3, they're lower, but F7 is the most advanced because it has all of the aspects of getting a successful engine. Because engine can be primitive, could be lower F. As I said, F7 is an engine that I didn't discuss much in this lecture because limitation of time. Maybe some other lecture I will talk about the F1 to F7. That would be interesting. Some of you guys may be interested to talk about. But for this lecture, I did not want to add to it because of the limitation we have. Anybody else? Okay. Thank you very much. You're a great audience.